Good afternoon. This is Cody with mine and Will's Checkpoint 3 video for our final presentation. Will has already directed and created a very polished and good looking video, so definitely go check his out. But this is just my perspective of what our research is telling us based off of the research articles that we found. So, right off the bat, we did change our research question from what is the minimum effective dose of training required to maintain muscle mass and functional fitness in non-athletic adults, aka average Joes, and how can they be implemented in community-based or at-home programs? Two, what is the minimum dose of physical training needed to have significant health benefits? We felt that our initial question kind of handcuffed us to the muscle mass and functional fitness realm of untrained adults, and it was difficult to find a lot of research on that population performing those specific types of training programs. So we broadened our scope a bit to allow us to find minimum effective dose training for vast, significant health benefits. So now we can encompass not only muscle mass and functional fitness, but also aerobic and anaerobic capacity, as well as bone mineral density, blood pressure decrease, or even body composition, having those minimum doses to show those health benefits. But based on the research that we found prior to the question change, most of the articles were consistent in saying that the low frequency with moderate to high intensity training can sustain and even improve strength and muscle mass in trained and untrained populations. The frequency of those studies indicate that even from 3 times per week can be beneficial in those populations, with 1 day per week showing that it can increase and maintain strength that has been attained, with a 2 30-minute workout sessions also showing increases in strength and hypertrophy. Though with the intensity, a commonality between most of the programs or most of the research articles is that the intensity needs to be at a moderate to high intensity, around that 60 to 80% of the 1 RM, or an 8 to 9 RPE, placing a major emphasis on the working sets being at failure or near failure to make sure that there is adaptation, regardless of the total volume that is being done. Many of the programs are concurrent training or minimalist resistance training, and they do place an emphasis on full body routines, again, because these individuals are conducting training 1 to 3 times per week. They've got to hit all different parts of the body, and they can't just do single muscle groups across the week. And some of the conflicts that we're seeing is that the definition of minimal is very broad. Again, ranging from 1 to 3 times per week, and who can benefit the most from it. We've found studies and articles where we're pretty much split down the middle on untrained versus trained athletes or individuals being in these studies, and it may not fully reflect who is looking for minimum dose training. Primarily, where we're assuming are those untrained adults, or even that clinical population just needing to get some type of activity done. So finding more research on that would be nice. And some of the research again indicates that reaching failure is important, while other research is saying that low to moderate intensity is beneficial. And we found most of our research on strength and mass and hypertrophy, and not a lot was on aerobic and anaerobic fitness, though we did find one study that had an emphasis on aerobic conditioning by instituting bike riding work rather than driving. So yeah, again, adjusting our research question is going to allow us to broaden our scope and hopefully deconflict a lot of these articles. And some of the gaps that we found, again, is that uh, primarily due to some of the conflicts we had, there was limited information on the elderly and the clinical population. Um, it would be nice to try to find some type of information on, sedentary adults that are um, potentially higher in BMI or something, and they're put through these minimal dose training programs. And another gap in our research is that a lot of the research is on that 8 to 12 week range, uh, which doesn't fully allow us to see the sustainability of those health benefits. It would also be beneficial to try to find some research on the detraining window of these types of minimal dose training programs. If an individual is going through this minimal dose training for 8 to 12 weeks and then they have to take, a 4 week break or a 2 week break, where are they starting to see the detraining come in, and which aspect are they seeing it? Are they seeing it at the same level of a trained athlete? So again, just another nice gap that we would like to fill in. But overall, our research is supporting the minimum dose training is an available tool for untrained and trained individuals to maintain or even improve their current level of fitness, as long as the training intensity is in the program. They can do those 2 to 3 times per week, as long as they're meeting the required intensity of the training. They will see some improvements. So, yep. Again, check out Will's video. It looks a lot better. Yeah, thanks.